Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. The winter time was a time when the old timers worked on little projects. And the old women, they would crochet, or in the case of my grandmother, she would tat lace. And my grandfather would carve and whittle different objects and different things that they used. And one of those things was spoons. Spoons was something I can remember a lot of the old men carving in the wintertime. And this spoon right here, this is one that actually was with my grandparents' stuff that I've used for a pattern many, many times. And I've got a couple here that I've carved myself. One that kind of hangs out in my bushcraft pack, just kind of a small personal tablespoon, soup spoon size spoon to use with my cups. And then I have a larger one here that I can use in a bush pot. I got a little toggle tied on here. But when I carve spoons, I like to carve spoons with a little bit of a branch on the one end. That way, when you're using it in your pot and you set it down and walk away, it kind of sits on this lip here and you don't have to worry about your spoon falling down in your pot. Just one of my little innovations that I do to it. When I was a kid in school, I took a timber cruising class. And what timber cruising is timber cruising is when people go out into stands of woods and they can measure and sort of look at what kind of timber is in that woods and how much lumber they can measure, how much lumber is in standing trees. And two things in timber cruising that you learn. One is land nav, which I probably forgot most of over the years, and the other one is identifying trees. And they don't identify the trees by the leaves, especially up here in the north, because half the year the leaves don't have, or the trees don't have leaves on anyway. So you learn to identify the trees by the bark, and that was the one thing that I really remember from that timber cruising class, plus my experience out in the woods that I had anyway, was identifying the different trees that are out in the woods in the winter, like this time of year, by the bark. And every tree has a certain use. Cedar doesn't really rot that quick, so it was used for posts. Red oak looks good, makes good strong boards. So oak was needed for like furniture and cabinet making. Ash and hickory were for handles, because it's such a straight grain strong wood. And the wood that was used for carving was basswood. Now this is a piece of basswood deadfall that I found, and I'm actually going to use this piece to carve a bit of a spoon and show you guys a little bit how to do that. And the one thing about basswood is it has a real smooth gray bark. You can see here, this is just really smooth, just a few little dimples in it. And and then the leaves on a basswood are sort of heart-shaped. They're large and they have a sawtooth edge on them. But basswood is known for carving because it's hard, yet it's not so hard that you can't carve with it. So it's sort of a combination between hard and soft at the right amounts that allows you to carve stuff like these guys right here. And the two spoons that I showed you that I carved are carved out of basswood. And all I got here for carving tools is I've got a spoon knife or a wood hook, whatever you want to call that. There's a couple different names for it. A gouge, which is pretty much a curved chisel. And then I have a whittling knife. And then I'm also going to use one of my large survival knives to split the first section out of this, which is right about here, because I'm actually going to split this down, and then the half with the little hook on it here that's going to stick out of my pot so my spoon doesn't fall in. That is what I'm going to use to make the spoon. So anyway, I'm going to split this out, and I'm going to get this sort of marked out, and then I'm going to stop along the way a couple of times and show you how I use this piece of basswood here to carve a spoon. Now I just batoned this through, and I took half of this off. Now this right here is going to be the bottom of my spoon, and then my handle, I'm going to thin this out. And then this piece here, I'm actually going to save this because this can be used to make a smaller spoon like this guy right here, more like a soup spoon size. So, of course, nothing goes to waste. Anyway, I'm going to mark this out here. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now, all I did is I took one spoon, my spoon right here, and once you have one spoon, you always have a pattern for any other spoons that you want to make. And I laid that on my piece of wood like so, and then I took a carpenter's pencil and I drew out the basic outline and then darkened it in. Now I'm going to take my whittling knife and I'm going to start carving this and thinning this down. And when I got the basic shape of the spoon and I got the bark off, then I'm going to take my spoon knife and my gouge. I'm going to get my my divot in the center here for the scoop part of my spoon. All right, guys, I've been working on this about a half an hour, and I pretty much got it down to my lines that I started out with. I got the rounded part of my spoon. I got my little pot clip here with my branch that I had sticking out. Now, if you didn't want this on here, you certainly could just saw this right off and then round it off to make it just a regular spoon. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gouge and I'm going to take my spoon knife and I'm going to get in here and I'm going to start making my divot for the scooping part of my spoon. Anyway, when I got to that point, I'll show you what that looks like. And after a few minutes with the spoon knife and the gouge, use the gouge to start, and then you use the spoon knife to sort of go inside and finish out the scoops. We've got a pile of shavings here, but this is basically what it looks like. Now I'm just going to go over it with a little bit of rough sandpaper to smooth out the sort of the rough edges and the marks from the knife here. And then I got a perfectly serviceable spoon that I can throw in one of my packs to use when I'm out camping or whatever next time. But only been working on this about an hour or so from start to finish. So you can see here it doesn't take very much to carve yourself a working spoon out of a piece of basswood with just a few simple tools. But anyways, Modern Refugee. Appreciate all my subscribers out there. Hope you guys got a little information, a little entertainment out of this video here, just talking about some of the things that the old timers did in the wintertime to pass the time. Anyway, you guys have a good one.